You guys don't follow this like I do, but there's thousands of businesses that we had that were burned down, towns flooded over,
Well,
Seneca Village
the,
saw took
uh,
into eminent
well,
domain and
well, see,
Lake
I asked you
Superior, all
that,
that stuff. Yeah.
but Spencer, I asked you that because I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on this. And I'm gonna land the plane quickly, but
Oh no, no, go ahead, take your time. I'm up.
um, I look white passing, right? But however, I am Melungeon. And Melungeons started in West Virginia next to the Appalachians. And it was a mixture of melanated people, Native Americans, and Irish people, all that were either freed slaves, escaped slaves, or people that were done with their indentured servitude and had nowhere else to go. And they had mixed tribes, and they named themselves Melungeons. And then turn around, the people with the sheets on their heads that loved to ride around and burn crosses, they decided that they were going to come for my people, and they fucked around and found out real quick that we were ready for them. And we took out a lot of them, and because we did so, they started a political propaganda campaign against my people. And we had to actually move down the Appalachian Trail to North Carolina. And we have I'm an hour and a half from the Cherokee Reservation. Cherokee Reservations were the ones who signed the treaty with the United States
What was
Corporation.
that thing? What was that they signed?
They
That's
signed
my dad, Johnny. That's my dad's side of the family.
the
Cherokee.
Cherokee signed basically a peace treaty with the United States Corporation.
Right. And this is
And,
what I was telling Terry Ritchie earlier
but the
with the
thing is,
reparations. It's the government thing. But go ahead with your story.
but my people, the Melungeons, and also we, when we came down to North Carolina, we linked up with the Lumbee tribes, which was the river people, and we're expanded all the way across the state of North Carolina. And what we did, none of us ever signed a treaty or a sovereign treaty or any kind of peace treaty with the United States Corporation. So therefore, they don't want to federally recognize us, and we never got a reservation. But we did it actually a better way because now me and my people, we have what is called a living trust where we can go directly to the Federal Reserve and get loans for the assets that we have all the way across the state of North Carolina. We have property that we own up here in the Appalachians where I'm at, which actually holds over 27 natural spring wells, all the way down to the beach of North Carolina where there's actual oil reserves. And at the end of the day, it's our people. We don't exclude other people from doing what we call contractual side work for us, where we provide bedding, food, and pay. And then whenever the season's over, we let them go about their way. But would you consider that systemic racism for us doing so?
No,
Oh, fair
not
enough.
at all. Because
Right on.
this is the way I think about the American, and a lot of black people, I shouldn't say this, but they really don't understand it. But I think I understand it because I have scholars that I've studied for a long time, and they all come to the same conclusion. Okay, the entire planet is fighting for resources because you cannot have any story, whether it's the Buffaloes, how the West was won, something overseas, all the wars, it was over some type of resource. Okay, so we fight for resources in America because the corporation was set up that way through group economics. Okay, and the only problem that a lot of groups have is when you make this fighting not across board or not, and then they lock it in by laws. Is where I've seen it where black people have set up casinos and gambling, or a casino is gambling, and then they change the ordinance where you can't have any alcohol in that just because they built it. Because they built it there, so the city fathers who are white change it where no gambling and no alcohol. When they let other groups slide. So this is what I advocate for: is to have everything fair among the groups. When you have one group saying another group can't do something and then favoring another group through cash, like the Ukrainians, they giving them money and putting them in the cities and stuff. and then the different reparations packages they gave to the LGBT communities and all that stuff. And then you're telling other groups, hey, you can't have a handout, pull yourself by your bootstraps, and stay in these poor cities without any grocery stores or resources or anything or loans or anything, and say, hey, and then I got all the wealth, and I go start a war, get all your children killed alive. Like, so it's all over the place. So no.
Now,
To do that for your group? No, I don't think that's right.
Did you know that over in
Go ahead.
Well, I appreciate that. I wanted to ask you, did you know that over in Africa there are 5 different countries that are offering dual citizenship, completely paid for by them, and free land grants for people that can prove their lineage to the slave trade over here in America?
I've looked into that. The hard part of that is you have to have a sponsor. I can't just come over, get the dual citizenship, and then start buying that land. So you got to have a sponsor. So you got to be tethered one of the citizens. And a lot of countries do that. I get that. So if you really want to do that, you have to either marry a national or have one, tied at the hip. So it's kind of like, and for me to do that in my position, I would have to start all over again. I know my traditions and stuff here, so, but yeah, I understand there's definitely, and it's Hispanic and dual citizenship. But I'm going to get dual citizenship right here.
Did you know in 1865 that?
But I'm saying this is the thing that gets me, and I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say this, but all the times that I go on TikTok and I see these lives where they're screaming reparations, reparations, reparations from the United States, when there's already a reparational institution coming from Africa for them taking their part and acknowledging their part in the slave trade and willing to give dual citizenship and land grants to where you could go over there, have your own land, develop it, and still live over here in the States and make money from that. You know what I'm saying? It's called divided infrastructure. And the fact is that most people that are of what you would consider in America African Americans either don't know about this program or are not willing to put in the work to make it happen. It blows my mind. Like, why would you not take full advantage of that?
Oh, was that a question? Yeah. No, I haven't heard of that. I haven't invested.
You know that in 1865 reparations were actually authorized and given.
Wait, what happened to Johnny?
I think he dropped.
Oh, okay.
But to get back to the question, I think that you asked for, Rach, I think Spence, and this is my personal opinion, but Spence, I think you think black people can do no wrong. I think you believe that a black person that can't be racist, they also can't be held accountable for decisions they've made in their own life because they have to blame somebody else. And in my opinion, like I said earlier, everybody wants to move into North America more so than any other country in the world. And there's a reason for that. And it isn't because it's a racist country. I think it's because it's full of opportunity for people that are looking for the opportunity. And in cases of opportunity, it's also full of people wanting to get a free ride and blame everybody else for their misery or their decisions in life. And I think you're a smart guy, Spence. I really do. But I think you can do much better for yourself than blaming white people for your.
How is it a how is it a free ride? That's what always mystifies me about you. You really,
simple.
You
Simple.
really think it's a free ride?
No, it's very simple, man. I mean, like I asked you earlier, what other country provides social assistance programs like North America does, predominantly white countries do, Western civilization, that allows people to literally move to that country. They still get aid. They can get health care. They can still get things that they need to survive. It's not going to be a lavish fucking life. You're not going to sit there and buy closet boats, but you can still survive.
So do you think that was fair treatment of the indigenous in the what is it, the boarding schools up there?
You know,
Do you think that was fair?
absolutely not. But I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this. 2023 mentality. How do you compare the 2023 mentality versus those of the 1900s, early 1900s? Where we are now, as a society, we can see the wrongdoings that of our past, and this goes for every country in the world. Now, if you're going to live in the past, then how are you going to possibly move forward?
Well, Mark,
That's the problem.
why are you saying live in the past?
Let me ask
Are people still affected by that need to be
Now
corrected?
everybody else is supposed to lay down.
No,
And-
let me ask you this question, Spencer. Why is it that the Native Americans who own now they own casinos?
Hey, Diamond, I can barely hear you. I don't know if it's everybody else. You're cutting in and out.
That's not.
So you have all these Native Americans now that have the casinos. They're doing well. Their lines are doing well. They get paid quarterly. Every 3 months they get paid a percentage of what they have, and then they put so much percentage away for them on their so they were the worst off when they came to this land, and yet they have prospered now. So what's the problem? I mean, they did what they had to do.
Good question
What
for me.
about
Okay, what did you say they have?
they have casinos which pays their members of their community money every month.
Okay.
They get free. Hold on, they get free housing.
Okay.
They get free freaking. They get paid quarterly. They get paid every 3 months. Okay, a percentage that they have out of the Woody Cop. So whatever they're making in the casino, they get paid a percentage of that casino what they have. And not only that, but what they've done at this point, they've what they call it's called a shared income. So tribes that don't have money, they give money to the tribe. They give a percentage of that to the money so that they have So you're blaming people and you're not taking responsibility for yourself. You're trying to say that it was the white people. And trust me, the white people did take advantage of these people that came, the Native Americans. But yet they have been able to now successfully get themselves out, have themselves now they're getting taken care of. They have their own health care. They have their own freaking money. They have their own so you're blaming, but you're not trying to find a solution. That's
Well, you're not looking at the big picture.
I'm looking at the big picture, bro. I see you blaming people, but you're not taking a solution to it. You're trying to blame every white person that it's the reason that you cannot make a hand up. It's an excuse of what it is. That's all it is for you.
Let me answer my excuse and why I think I'm a victim. Okay. You said a lot about the casino. You don't think that they developed that with the blessings of the American government?
They did.
Many other people do.
Fought with them about it, and guess what? And the Supreme Court said that they had the right to do anything on their land.
That's the
Okay.
blessing. That's the blessing.
Now that's not the blessing. That's a right that they fought for. Not what do you call blessing. The government didn't bless them with anything.
No, you can't listen. You can't compare the Native Americans because the Native Americans, the reason why they got the land that they got is because we violated a treaty. Our government violated a treaty, and because we violated that treaty, we then owed them, period.
That's the blessing. Exactly. He acts like that group just shot up one day out of the ground and building casinos. And I'm sure through the rights of getting the land back, that's one part of it. And I'm sure if you investigate that situation, they got entitlement or cash in order to get construction rolling. And now that they have the infrastructure built, now they can distribute money to the other tribes, and like you were saying. And this is all Black Americans want. We want something like a Marshall Plan. That's what that is. It's to get the infrastructure rolling, just like other communities.
Spencer, I mean, you're speaking on behalf of Black people. I would have to disagree because a lot of Black people that I know think you're ridiculous for saying something like that. They think it's absolutely ridiculous.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they actually do.
Not the ones that follow the scholars that I follow. But go ahead.
Yeah,
The scholars that you follow clearly are biased in believing in this nonsense that they're spewing out.
And they have doctorates, and they've studied this stuff a long time. Your Booker T.
That just
Washington does.
It doesn't make any sense, Spencer.
W.E.B. Du Bois
You
is.
think every black person out there right now in North America is claiming to want to have reparations? Is that what you're saying?
We're not a monolith.
No.
And that's the
Every
misconception,
black
because a lot of people
person
think,
says
Why do you
and
make a
this is
blanket
why
statement like that?
country.
this is why they let somebody like a Kamala Harris, or they let somebody like who's the other person, like a Tangi Brown, who's from Jamaica, Kamala's from India. This is how they let people. We've been tricked a long time over that type of stuff. But you watch this next election, we're not going to vote blue no matter who. You'll see.
Well, exactly. Trump is going to win. You know that.
And why do you think he's going to win?
Because people are, the more people try to indict him, the more people try to create this narrative that he's this big bad villain, the more people want to be with him and be on his side, because what they're doing to him is how people actually feel this government's been doing to them the whole time, getting fucked without getting taken out for dinner first.
Well,
That's what's happening.
Let me give you a different perspective in American
Hey, also,
politics.
too, at some point, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off, but Diamond hasn't had a chance to speak. I don't think Jay has had a chance to speak.
Yeah, the subject kind of changed. I wanted to speak on the guy who I think he dropped now, and he was saying like his question before he dropped, whatever happened, he said the question was, why don't black people want to take advantage of the programs to go live in Africa, to go have dual citizenship over there? And I don't think it's that we don't want to, but we are Americans. This is our this is what we know. This is what our culture is based in from being over here.
Yes,
So
I told him.
let me continue. Going over to Africa is very foreign to a lot of us. A lot of us are not educated on Pan-Africanism or anything that's really going on over in Africa, because we live in a place that doesn't even really report on anything that's going on in Africa. You have to go to alternative news outlets. It's very hard to find anything in mainstream news outlets. Where I live, I pay an extra $40 a month to get the Africa channel, which is just a channel that shows programs from various regions of Africa and doesn't even come in 24 hours. So
I didn't even know you could do that.
yeah, so we are here, like, we are Americans. This is our center. This is what we understand. Also, the other thing is, a lot of us are not even in the place financially to approach someone in Africa to be a sponsor for us. Like, a lot of those programs, you have to be able to show that you can financially survive over there for a whole entire year.
So that's a good question, though, that you asked, though, Diamond. Or that,
He's press here in America.
what's that?
No, I was telling Diamond that guy was kind of being smart. He said because of he was asking me if I was so oppressed in America about the programs that's overseas.
Oh, was he being smart? I didn't hear the part.
Not you. This was he was asking me, and I answered him like you did. This is our home. This is my home.
Well, right. So if it's your home, right? If to me, there's a lot of issues that need to be resolved. I agree with it. I agree with there, like absolutely. But I don't think it's a black and white issue that needs to be resolved. And whether you agree with me or not, that's fine.
Well,
I mean, obviously you don't. I don't think. Hold on, Diamond. Hold on.
In here with 2 master's degrees, but still, when I walk into a primarily white establishment, I'm being looked at with scrutiny and asked questions that none of the other customers or patrons are being asked.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, let's see. For instance, I had a lady at the drive-thru at Panda Express ask me how I was gonna pay. I said with a card. She said we don't accept EBT.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. I had a coworker.
Adam, you know what you should have done at that point? You should have asked for a manager
and asked, and that I would have called her out on that.
Oh,
one.
I do.
I would have sued the fuck out of Panda Express.
Now, see, now we go through this all the time.
Hold on a second.
Black people had their own establishments. We wouldn't have to go through this.
When white people
Was it a white girl behind the counter or what?
out, the first thing they do is call victim. I'm a teacher. I'm a coach of teachers. I'm a coach of teachers. Teachers come to me for information and resources all throughout the day. I work on projects with other teachers for weeks, for trimesters. New teacher came to the school. She needed some information about a group of students. She never came directly to me, but she sent all these emails as if she did, and she spun this narrative that she came to me, and I told her to find the information for herself. My job is to provide the information. So the emails were all forwarded to me. When I called her and said, hey, all you had to do was ask me, and she was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, I have these emails saying that, you're not getting the information and that I told you to go find it on your own. She said, oh, no, you're mistaken because I never sent any emails like that. I said, well, I have them right here. Then she said, are you calling me a liar? And I said, well, I'm not saying those words. And she said, well, why are you being so rude? I said, did I raise my voice at you? Did I insult you? Did I make a character judgment on you? No, but you're being rude. You're accusing me. You're being rude. No, I'm letting you know next time just come directly to me. Like, what was all of that confrontation about? Why? I don't think she would have did that with anyone else there.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they could nobody's saying racist.
I have a coworker who sits on the board. I have a coworker who sits on the board of an organization called Cars Plus, which is a organization that supports special education teachers and resource specialists and anyone who works in the field of special education. I was at a conference and I had a coworker who sits on that board come up to me where the year before this lady told me, oh, you're one of those teachers, and then tried to assault me in the elevator region of the hotel and was ejected by security. Then, so a whole year later, this coworker who sits on the board tells me, oh, we're watching you this year.
Now, hang on.
I don't know. No, I don't know if I believe that.
I took it to my school board, and they said it was intimidation based on race. Because
I don't believe that. Come on.
Even she went back.
The school board is the most liberal freaking place you can go to right now. Come on, they're so woke, it's unbelievable.
California, dude, this shit happens.
Yeah, that's even worse. California is the most woke freaking goddamn state there is. What are you talking about?
Well, no, it's not. California is a wonderful place, but it's just the black population is very
liberal haven. What are you talking about? Like those people, what are you talking about? I don't know.
The most liberal place that you can possibly. Oh, hey, Belle! My favorite person, Belle, is in
wherever
here.
you live at, the cost of living is what it is to you. Yeah, it's high to live.
Wait, which place is more woke than California? Come on. Come on, man.
So, Diamond, listen, I
was just giving examples because he asked. And
no. So I'm not downplaying anything that you just said. My dad, he in Kentucky, he's a school board attorney. Mm-hmm. And when you just said that somebody at a conference assaulted you in an elevator, what did you do about that?
Well, the thing is, okay, so she verbally assaulted me when I was presenting at a conference, and I was presenting on classroom management in a special day class dealing with behaviors that are comorbid with neurodivergent students. That's what it was about. And she was talking very loudly while someone was asking a question, and I kind of was like, stop talking, and the whole room was quiet, just waiting for her to talk. And she just was like, oh, I see you're one of those kind of teachers. Can't nobody talk, teachers like you, blah, blah, blah. I said, teachers like me. And she was like, well, black teachers are just more strict and don't allow students to express themselves. And then other people in the room was like, hey, it's inappropriate comment. somebody went out. Well, you know, when you have a conference and you're doing seminars, there's a person like a concierge for each presenter. The
Right.
concierge went out, got the people who were over the conference. They came in. They asked her to leave with the hotel security. She was coming out of the elevator with her bag. I just happened to be in the elevator area, and she started coming towards me, but the security was already there and escorted her out. Now, the conference, basically, they handled it. They gave me an apology. They refunded anything fees that I had to pay out of my pocket. They did a lot of stuff. They made it cool.
Yeah.
The next year, with my coworker who was on the board, that situation, she even had the audacity to sit and